Hello, friends and fellow board gamers. Welcome back to Board Games with Rob. And today I've got a guest with me. Bill, why don't you, I've given it away, your first name anyway, but why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, folks. My name is Bill Ivie. I'm the board game director for Meeple-A-Thon, a convention coming up here in Kansas City.
A convention in Kansas City? No way.
Yeah,
So
there's a few
when,
of them.
what's that?
I said there's a few of them. So
Yeah. And you're rounding out the year. I mean, we're saving the best for last, aren't we?
definitely saving the biggest. We are the largest board game convention in Kansas City, so we're excited.
So how big, how many people? What do you average and what are you expecting?
We're anticipating somewhere around 2,300 people this year.
Oh wow. Wow. This will be my very first Meeple-A-Thon. In fact, this year was my first CantCon, and I had met you earlier in the year, and you had kind of asked if I could come and kind of do what I was doing and have a table, and I was like really humbled by the ask and really much looking forward to it. But tell me a little bit about yourself and Meeple-A-Thon, how long it's been going, but more importantly, about you when you got involved with it, how long you've been there, and kind of what your little spin on it since you've been here. Where are we at today, and how did we get there?
Sure. Meeple-A-Thon is a charity in the Kansas City area. They support homeless services throughout Kansas City. This year, ATPKC is our benefactor that we'll be working with to kind of help with their homeless services that they do. A lot of stuff that they do that's really great. That's really kind of one of the things that sets us apart from the other conventions is where we're a legitimate 501c3 charity, right? Like everything we're doing is benefiting that that program. So in the midst of doing that, our major fundraiser every year is this board game convention or this game convention that we put on. It's kind of fun because I tell people it's almost like four conventions under one big umbrella, right? We've got our board games, we've got collectible card games and trading card games, role playing games, and then there's a pretty massive wargaming effort that comes up in at Meeple-A-Thon as well. So we'll be at Overland Park Convention Center. We're taking up pretty much the entirety of the convention center with the exception of the ballroom. So we'll be all of the upstairs, all of the downstairs. So a lot of different things to explore and check out, and all kinds of fun stuff for people to do outside, even outside of my area. As for me, I was last year was my first Meeple-A-Thon. I had gone to some conventions. I really wasn't into the Kansas City convention scene. I didn't realize there were conventions being held here. I stumbled into Meeple-A-Thon. I had been going to a couple of conventions and been trying to figure out how to get more involved and how to do more and do more than just volunteering and showing up and like what you do, where we demo games and we play games with people. I love doing that, but I wanted a convention that I could do more than that, right? I wanted to be a little bit more involved. And I reached out to Lindsay Carter, who's the director of Meeple-A-Thon, and talked to her a little bit. She said, "Hey, we could really use some help in the board game space." So that was last year. And I kind of came and I told her, it was like, look, when I do something, I'm kind of bad at going all in on things. Right. So I told her, I was like, I want to come kind of see how it works, see what you guys are doing, meet the people behind the meeples, right? Like we call them the meeple people. But I wanted to meet all those guys and see that it was a group of people that were really passionate about this because I knew I would be. We've quadrupled the size of the board game library. We've tripled the size of the play to win library. So we really
Oh
just
wow.
wanted to set out and say, Kansas City, we want to bring a game convention to you. Come check it out and see how you like it.
So this is your first year as director then?
It is. Yeah, this is my first year as the director. Last year, I a lot of people that met me, vendors and stuff that met me, are like, "Oh, so you're the board game director," because I just kind of took on that role a little bit while I was shadowing. And once I kind of met the Meeple people, I knew I was in the right spot, right? So I was very comfortable and ready to jump in. I spent a lot of time this year going to some conventions and seeing what worked well and what I didn't think worked well and what I wanted to bring back to Kansas City and what I didn't want to bring back to Kansas City. And I kind of hodgepodge some of the best ideas I could find. And then I kind of grew some of those ideas even a little bit more to what people weren't doing with them. So,
So speaking of that, we bumped into each other for the first time. Well, the second time, maybe the third time, but the first time we sat down to play a game this year at another convention, Gen Con. And that was actually one of the highlights I had there was getting to sit down with you and actually play a game with you. But let's compare. So tell me, you said you got some ideas from some. What were some of the things that you took back from Gen Con that you'd like to implement? And what were some of the things you're like, no way, that's not something I'd ever consider doing here?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So it was really crazy to run into you at Gen Con. There was a group of people up there from the Kansas City area that I got to sit down and play games with that I had been trying to connect with for well over a year in person. And we all went up to Indianapolis and found time to play games together somehow. So it was kind of fun how that worked out. But you and I, we got to play. It just happens to be sitting next to me. We got to play Twinkle
Yeah,
Twinkle,
that's
right?
it. Yep.
With Amon, right? The game designer was there and he taught us how to play it. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. Brought that back with me. Gen Con was really a networking event for me. It was getting to know more people, getting my face in front of more people, people that I'd been emailing with and kind of talking to quite a bit. It was really a chance for me to kind of just meet people in the industry. I think it was hard to bring anything back from Gen Con because it's so big, right? Like they're trying to replicate what they do would be really hard. But I think what we did bring back was things like I went to Dice Tower West this year and they had a hot game zone. And a hot game zone is a zone where they have tables set up that have some of the hottest games in the industry. The games are already set up and ready to play. You just sit down and you play. We saw libraries around that were so much larger than what we were offering and so much busier, and especially play to win libraries in Geekway. Geekway is known for their play to win library, such a massive library of play to win games. And I really set out to say, I want to be that, right? And last year we had a play to win library. It was sparse, but it was also one of the things that I didn't like about it was it was old games, right? They were games that had been around forever. And I was like,
Sure.
that's fine. There's some classic games. I don't mind giving away a copy of Catan or a copy of Bonanza or whatever. Like if that's what you want, we'll put those in there. But I really focused on when I worked with retailers saying, hey, if you're going to send me a play to win game, can you send me something that came out in either 24 or 25? We've legitimately set up an entire zone called Learn to Win where you could sit down and play a game. Somebody's going to teach you how to play the game. You learn it, you play it, you enjoy it, you don't enjoy it, whatever you want out of it, but then you're put into a drawing to win it, right? Just like play to win, but you don't have to fight through the rules. You don't leave. You know how many times I played a game, Rob, where I left with a bad taste because of a bad rule book,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You go pick it up at a play to win and you're just like, this is not my game. I can't figure out the rules. I can't get going. And I turn away from it, or I even own a copy on my shelf of shame and I sell it because I'm like, I didn't like that. And then I go to another convention, I sit down at a demo and somebody teaches it to me. And I'm like, I have to go buy this game again. This game is amazing. I just didn't understand it, right? We got some wonderful teachers, some guys from the Kansas City area, some folks from the Springfield area. Dan, who teaches a ton of games down at Cardboard Corner, right? Those guys all just kind of flocked to this idea and said, yeah, we'll come teach a game, right?
Yeah, it's funny.
So
I've got a lot of, so I have my weekly group on Wednesday nights, and I think I've got at least two people that are going to be, or I'm aware of at least two people that are going to be demoing games for you or teaching games in the Learn to
yeah,
Win. Um, John, he's doing, I think he's doing fountains maybe.
that's
Um,
right. Yeah, John's going to teach fountains for us. Yeah.
yeah, and then Luis, I think he's doing Super Boss Monster maybe. You've gotten your fingers spread into the Kansas City area pretty well.
Yeah, it
Um,
was a challenge. I have a lot of people when I talk to them about this, a lot of convention organizers and stuff like, Bill, how'd you do this? Like, how do you, like, we've got 20 games that are going to be demoed over the weekend. Two of them are at the same table because they're kind of small games. So
right.
we've got 19 tables with 5 sessions at each table for each game, right? So
Wow.
19 tables with 5 sessions, 4 people at each session. We're about 70% sold out at this point of tickets for those events, right? Which is where you come in, right?
Wow.
So then we're selling out of those and we've got all these people signing up ahead of time. But then we've got strategically throughout the building, right? All Play is going to be there with their big 10-foot by 20-foot booth and they're doing demos, right?
Oh, wow.
There
That's
are some
great.
all play there's some all play games in the Learn to Win. If you go to All Play's booth and you demo it with all play, they'll take your name down and make sure you're entered in the learn to win drawing. And they're going to do the same thing with you. And you are,
Yeah.
I love this, Rob. You're going to be the first thing people see, right?
Oh, that's
As
great.
they come as they come into Meeple-A-Thon, you come up the escalator and you kind of turn around to go back to the convention center. And when they turn around, the first thing they're going to see is board games with Rob,
Oh, that's
right? And
sweet. Yeah.
that's kind of the head of our demo zone. That's the head of our learn to play, right? And they'll be able to do, and I think this is very important that I want your listeners to know. They'll be able to do the same thing with you. If they come up to Rob and say, Rob, I don't know how to play Twinkle Twinkle. I couldn't get signed in for the Twinkle to Twinkle Learn to Play. Rob's got it there on his table. He said, I'll teach you how to play Twinkle Twinkle. Let's sit down and play. And then he'll take your name down. He'll get it to me. You're entered to win it at Learn to Win, right? So you can get outside of those sessions. But if there are games that you're excited about, make sure you're looking at the sessions. Get signed up for them early because they're selling out quick, right? And get involved there. But if not, find one of us, find Rob, find myself wandering the floor. We'll tell you other ways that you can get entered by talking to certain tables or going places. So
All right, folks. So, the power of editing. I recorded a whole segment with Bill talking about all the games that was going to be in the play to win, and as luck would have it, I messed up. We had audio issues, so we're re-recording. So if I look a little different, or I tried to put on the same shirt, I think Bill did too, but I don't think anyway, I digress. So Bill, what I thought we'd do is let's go through the games that you're going to have in this awesome play to win. And the first one I want to start with is A Place for All My Books. So have you played this?
I have, yeah, Place for All My Books, maybe one of my favorite games that's come out in 2025. I think it it suffers a little bit from its marketing as a cozy game. I don't think it's all that cozy. I think it's a pretty good thinker. I think it's a great game for gamers. A little worker placement, little kind of energy resource management, right? But I like it a lot. I think everybody else that I've seen play it seem to have liked it. I think it's going to be a great game for people to come learn to win.
Yeah, I would agree. This game, I thought it was going to be more of a family weight, oh, I don't know, a kids game maybe. And when I got it to the table, oh man, it was, yeah, it's worker placement, and I've got a player board out here, and you're stacking books and different arrangements. Look at these books. I mean, the detail they spent on these like little itty bitty tiny books is just great. And I mean, the artwork on these cards is phenomenal. You have different objectives, and you've got objects that you can get. So yeah, this is a great addition. This is going to be something. And look at the box. The box is a book. Pretty neat. So yeah, this is going to be one somebody's going to be real happy to take home, Bill. I'm pretty impressed that you got this one.
It's a board game about being an introvert, and I think they found a target audience. So
All right, the second game in there that I mean, this one's a little older is Wondrous Creatures. Now, have you played this one?
I have. So we've got two games that I would say are probably on the older side, but they still resonate with people. The very, very popular games. This one's absolutely gorgeous. A lot of people really enjoy it. The components are great. Wondrous Creatures, going to be taught by a gentleman named Jeff Pritchett, who we know is the creator of Oopsie Poopsie, which we'll be talking about here in a little bit. But Wondrous Creatures, I think a lot of people are very excited at the potential to take this one home.
Yeah, this is one that's a worker placement game, but it's really unique in that you've got it's what's really neat. You've got these wondrous creatures, right? And then one of them allows you to put like upgrade it with a dude, and they've got magnets so that they kind of I mean, I thought that was kind of a unique deal. But yeah, gorgeous components. It's kind of a game where you've got goals, public goals that you're racing to get, and that was kind of one of the things that threw me originally for the game because it felt like I kept chasing them and somebody would just beat me to it. But I haven't given up on this game, and it's a heavier game, so I'm really Jeff should do a good job on this. Jeff's a great guy. Great game. Right. So the next one, wow, now this one's fairly new. I think with a month or two old, maybe 2 or 3 months old. Fate of the Fellowship. Now, have you played this one?
Brand new and very hard to get a hold of. Yes, I played it. it's not really my style of game, to be honest with you. And I think another one that really it kind of got put out there as being the skin of pandemic. And people really sat down and started opening it and trying to play it and said, oh, it's like pandemic, it's going to be great. And then a lot of people just come back and say, that's not pandemic, right? And they kind of get a bad taste in their mouth. But I think once they get a second play in of it and they get a little bit more into it, it's definitely got a great game. It's a great replayability of the game. Absolutely leans into the theme. Lord of the Rings fans will love this game. It's very, very thematic, and you're holding up there the tower that comes with it, right? So, um, kind of an impressive table presence. Maybe not like don't come into it thinking you're playing Pandemic just because it's got some of that pandemic mechanic to it. But fun game taking place there in Middle Earth. So
Yeah, this is one I haven't gotten to the book to the table, but I would argue that I've heard it does have a little bit of that I mean, it's built on that Leacock pandemic like formula. Now there's another two games that are claim that same mechanism. There's the Clone Wars, Star Wars Clone Wars game, and then the World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King game. And I've played neither. But I would argue maybe that's an allure or that might attract people. It is cooperative, but I think it's enough different from pandemic that maybe the people that are sick of the pandemic system will really be attracted to this game, right? As well as the theme and the fact that it's cooperative. I don't know. Do you typically like cooperative games?
I do, and I actually credit co-op games to really being something that I learned how to play with one of my sons. Really kind of struggled with playing board games with us, and when we found co-op games, we discovered a new thing that he could do with the family, and I think it really kind of helped us out there. So I enjoy a good co-op game. I think this is again very thematic. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, it's a very good game for that. You definitely feel like you're playing that role, and you're trying to kind of guide the characters through. So
All right, next. Now, this one is well, it's a newer game to the US. It's been out in publication overseas for a while. Comic Hunters. Now, have you played this?
I have, and you know me, Rob. You know I'm a big comic book fan. I'm a comic book collector. This may be the best theme around comic book collecting that I've ever played. You definitely feel like you're out there collecting comics. You're going to the comic store, you're buying from eBay, you're going to conventions and stuff like that. I think this game suffers a little bit from the components. The components aren't that great. The cards are kind of flimsy. The components are kind of cardboard, very thin cardboard. It benefits very well from a slight upgrade. They did a good job at pricing it well for that. You don't have to pay a whole lot for the upgrade to get some better components and sleeve the cards and stuff like that. But um, overall, just a great game. Brutal solo mode when you play against Jarvis, but for a game that you can sit down at the table with 2 to 4 people, I think it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I would agree. In everything that you said, the components, yeah, aren't that great. I will say, and you touched there are quite a bit of upgrades out there. So this is like an Etsy upgrade that takes some 3D printed token holders and allows you to put the little flimsy, cardboard thing in there, and it's almost like it's thick paper, not even cardboard. It's real chintzy. I would have thought that they would have upgraded the components with it coming to the US, but it's literally the same component quality that it was overseas. But I think to your point, that allows it, to keep the price point that it's at. But the gameplay is phenomenal. It's an auction game, and yeah, you've got like 4 or 5 different types of auctions. I think maybe four, and you're doing 3 of them each round. There's 3 rounds. And it's cool because you've got your different cards, which it uses the real comic book art, and which is probably like you alluded to why the licensing fee alone was probably why they had to keep this down to a lower price point. But I went in and I sleeve mine with white sleeves, kind of like the old cardboard sleeves, right, for comics. And so I kind of yeah, upgraded this myself. Great game, and I think it'll be one of the fan favorites at the con. All right, the next game is one that I don't own, and I haven't played. It's Adulthood. So why don't you tell us a little bit, just something short about Adulthood? Well, about the
Sure.
game Adulthood. We could probably go on forever
Yeah,
about talking about adulthood.
not about life. Yeah, I'm not a
Right.
life guru. So, Adulthood is from our friends at Brotherwise Games. A fun little game about being an adult and kind of feeding into what kind of adult you want to be. It's kind of you gain points based off of whether you're doing charitable work or you're leaning into your work or you're leaning into your relationships and things of that nature. So it really kind of captures all of that and benefits you. Each game kind of plays very differently. So there's a lot of replayability in it. I call it the modern board game answer to life, right? For the classic games, right? So
All right, and then the next one is another one I don't have. Tell me a little bit about Crafting the Cosmos, and have you played it?
crafting the cosmos. Now that's a fun one that I don't know a whole lot about it, to be honest with you. I don't own it. I haven't played it. It is one that it hit at Gen Con. It was on the tables at Gen Con. It looks beautiful. It's got great artwork and things like that. Had a lot of people buzzing about it. My understanding that it's kind of a heavier game, but we really kind of leaned into the things that were hitting really hard at Gen Con and tried to bring them home to Kansas City so people had a chance to play them and learn them and win them. And we grabbed that one based off of the feedback we were getting at Gen Con.
Yeah, I really like how you fed into the having new stuff, that'll appeal to people and bring it back here locally for people to try that might not have been able to make it to Gen Con.
That's one of the focus of the Learn to Win and the Play to Win system this year as I kind of took over as the board game director. Is one of my focuses was to make sure we were featuring games that were somewhat newer. And we'll see, like we already saw Wondrous Creatures and Comic Hunters, right? We've got some games that are just incredibly popular that are a little older. But at the same time, we really wanted to make sure that we were looking at things that came out in the last couple of years.
Sure. All right, the next one I've got is a new, well, not a new release, but a new edition, and that's Quacks, formerly Quacks of Quedlinburg. Have you played Quacks?
So this is the fun. Everybody makes fun of me. I have not played Quacks,
What?
and I'm a big fan of the mechanic. Right, I love a bag drafting game. I love bag building. I think it's a great mechanic. I love playing games like Wonderland's War, and there's a game out there called Guardlings that I've heard gets compared to this quite a bit. But I've never played Quacks. We will have the deluxe edition on the tables for people to play and win. So hopefully they'll enjoy that. But it is the newer version with the newer artwork and all of that. So
Yeah,
we're excited to bring it.
being a father of a ton of kids, I've seen a lot of claymation kid shows, and so I wasn't as taken aback by the artwork, and I love how everything just fits in a single box, and I love, I don't mind the artwork. Most of the components are the same. It plays the same. There's no fundamental changes to this edition, but I really enjoy it, and it's a great game. And wow, what a way to come back with a now this is the all-in edition, but to be able to get a deluxe edition is equally as good and going to make somebody happy. The game that we played together, the only game we played together at Gen Con, Twinkle Twinkle. So I know that we both played this. What were your thoughts on it?
I love Twinkle Twinkle. It's a great tile laying game. It kind of snuck up on people at Gen Con. It was one that was there. It kind of debuted there. We had Amon Anderson, the designer, actually taught you and I how to play the game, which was a lot of fun. He really kind of came out of Gen Con for a second year in a row. People know Amon as being the brain behind Gnome Hollow. So another one of his games. So two Gen Cons in a row where he kind of sneaks in and brings in a game that nobody's talking a whole lot about beforehand and everybody's talking about afterwards. So excited to bring this from our friends at All Play right here in Kansas City. So very generous of them to bring some copies to us. But I think people are going to love this game. I play it numerous times. It's on BGA as well if you're an electronic gamer. So you can go out there and play. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Tile lane, point salady kind of game.
Yeah, that they all plays really well known. Well, two things. One, really nice components. Two, tight boxes, which aggravates me to be honest. Everything just about fits. Which when they do tend to put in a lot of deluxe, make a lot of deluxe upgrades for stuff, and sometimes they're hard to get back into the main box. But a really fun, nonetheless, a fun game. You've got it is a tile laying game, like you said, and just a bunch of different like these, it's all space themes. So you've got like meteors and planets and black holes, and depending upon how you place them on the board, things are going to score a little differently. Really nice components. I'm showing some that have the upgrade, but which has some of these colored acrylic upgrades. But the base game is just as good. Really nice cardboard, thick cardboard tokens, and the gameplay is what you're there for. And yeah, it was a really nice experience playing this with you. I mean, look at the cloth bag that it comes with. I mean, really, really great. And I did get to meet, and I got the game signed, as you can see down at on it. It was a great time. All right, next one up on the list is a new one as well from the OP, and that's Fountains. Have you played that one?
Yeah, so I haven't played this one, but the op was very generous with what they were able to kind of donate our way. We got quite a bit from them. They sent us fountains and they sent us tea witches. And they asked, I reached out to the guy that's going to teach it, a mutual friend of ours named John. So, which one do you want to teach? He had been playing tea witches with you already. So he decided he wanted to play fountains and kind of teach that and bring it to the table. So that's how that one ended up being in the list, was just kind of, we've got a great group of teachers, and I think people are going to love learning games from the people that we've chosen to teach games. And sometimes we just kind of defer to them and say, what do you guys want to put out there?
Yeah, he comes to my weekly group, and great guy. And I'll tell you what, Fountains it has a great presence on the board. I love the foam tiles. I think people will see this being played and want to jump on it. It's very pointastic and very gorgeous. The OP has really upped their production value a lot. Gnome Hollow was a really big win last year or the year before, I forget. And Fountains, and of course T Witch is big, but Fountains has a great presence. So the next one I want to talk about is another one that I don't own. I've played the original, which was Boss Monster, but you've got Super Boss Monster, which really looks super on a shelf. It's this big box that looks like a big Super Nintendo cartridge. Have you played it?
I have. I love Boss Monster. That's probably, if we go back in time to my gateway game that brought me into modern board gaming, it was probably Boss Monster. So a lot of fun being the boss of the dungeon and trying to lure heroes in that you can then claim their souls as they don't defeat your dungeon. So a lot of it's just a lot of fun. The artwork's absolutely entertaining, especially for those of us that grew up in the era of 8-bit and 16-bit video games. You're right, the box has a presence just on the shelf, so I think people will love it. Another friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, teaching that one is Luis, is going to bring
Yep.
that one to the table for us. So
Yeah, Louise is a great guy. He's been down to my group a time or two. All right, the next one is one that I definitely own, and this was probably one of the big hits at Gen Con, if not the big. Well, it was one of the biggest ones. Definitely had a lot of commercial presence, and this is Nature. Now I've got the all-in big Kickstarter box, which has everything in it. But you're going to have, I think, what, the base game, and what all's going to be in there. And have you played it?
yeah, so we're just teaching the base game. I have played it. Nature's a lot of fun, right? The I call it the evolution of evolution, right? The game that it was based off of, that it kind of grew up into. A lot of fun to learn and to play. And there's a bunch of expansions out, and they've got it planned out for the next, I think, 3 years of releasing expansions that'll feed into it and give people even more to it. Everything that we teach is typically the base game. There's some deluxe that got sent to us, as we talked about with Quacks, but for the most part, we try to teach you the base game, because if you don't win it, we want to make sure if you go out and buy it, you're going to get exactly what you saw at the table, right? So we want to make sure we're not misrepresenting anything. But I think people are going to love this game. It's definitely very popular out there right now. And man, I don't think you could walk into anywhere in Gen Con and not see some form of advertisement for Nature. It was everywhere.
Yeah, Nature. It's a card game. You're kind of almost like a little battler, but you're. When I met the designer, he had mentioned that he had come up with this whole game system as a way of teaching Magic, the card game, to his family. And this has had, as you mentioned, was an evolution of evolution. It came out with evolution. There were a couple different iterations of that. And then this is just the artwork is gorgeous. I think they've just through a lot of feedback and refinements have done a great job with this. And even the base game is a gorgeous box and something somebody's going to be really happy to walk away with, let alone play. So, all right, the next one up is another all play, very similarly sized box. It's Merchants of Andromeda. Have you played this one, Bill?
This is one I haven't played. A good friend of mine named Roger is going to teach it at the show. I think it's a lot of fun. We've heard a lot of great feedback about it. I know you've got some experience with it, but I have not personally played it. But I think people are going to really enjoy it, and I trust All Play when they tell me this is when we sat down and talked to them about learn to play or learn to win. They really this was their lead. They were like, "This is perfect for that." So
Yeah, this is was probably one of my top hits from Gen Con and definitely from All Play. What I love about this, it's a Kinesia game, first of all, and you've got these multi-purpose cards that at the bottom they're going to have a resource, and then they're going to be playing into one of like 5 or 6 different areas at the top. You're going to be doing this thing called influencing different areas. And so when it's your turn, you have this little bar here, and you're going to draw 3 cards one at a time, and you have to place it either into you're going to play the core card as a resource for its influence, or you're going to auction it off, and whoever wins that auction will then get to play the card for both of its influence and its resource on there. And resource is one of the boards on there, so it's really a clever mechanic. It's a typical Nizia point salad game, but lots of fun, and I love how all the different areas score differently. All right, the next one that I have played, I've got a copy somewhere. I couldn't find it. Is Dice Throne. Now, have you played this, and which iteration are you going to have there?
one of my favorite games is Dice Throne. Yeah, just battle Yahtzee at its finest, right? A little bit of card play in there too. The version that we'll have will be season one characters. So we've got a battle chest to give away, which I think is kind of phenomenal that we're able to give away such a great prize. But we're also hosting a Dice Throne tournament, so you can come learn to win. Maybe win the copy of Dice Throne, but you could also enter a tournament. And that Dice Throne tournament we just announced, the winner of that gets a free 4-day pass to Gen Con 2026.
Oh wow, really neat. Yeah, Dice Throne's a great game. It's a battler, very easy to learn, and it's addictive. And they've got a ton of different characters. They have Marvel crossovers. Really neat game. The next game that I am very passionate about, and mainly because of the company and this game, is Age of Comics. Now, this one might be one of your older games, I think. It's a number of years old. Have you played it?
This might be the oldest game on the list, but man, this game's just so well done that the popularity stays high on it. Anytime we pull it out, everybody wants to play it. I love playing it. Great game about kind of the opposite, right? We talked about comic hunters being about collecting comics. This one, the theme of this one is about making the comics and making the comics back in like the 1950s, 1940s era when the comics were really like detective comics and things like that, making knockoffs of the versions of comics to try to capitalize on some things. So the game is a ton of fun. I learned it at Geekway last year and got to play it and really enjoyed it and came home with a copy of it shortly after. And you're right. Another one of those that I want to feature because it's good people doing good things in the industry. You introduced me to the folks that actually produce Age of Comics or that created Age of Comics. Great group to work with, great bunch of people to just talk to. So we're happy to feature one of their products in this way.
Yeah, Lyrius Games. They just completed a Kickstarter on Timeless Journeys, which was successful. And yeah, I mean, this is it's a worker placement game, and you're hiring artists and writers and coming up with ideas for comics. And I mean, look at I mean, the artwork's phenomenal. This is all hand drawn art for the comics, and they've got knockoffs and just a really fun worker placement game. Gorgeous components will be a great experience to whoever's playing this and a fun game to take home. All right, so we've I've kind of lumped all the rest into like we'll just kind of talk through them real quick. Fliptoons is one. Now, have you played Fliptoons?
I have. I love Fliptoons. Picked it up at Gen Con. It was one of those that was just at a booth at Gen Con and not a whole lot of fanfare to it. All of a sudden, On Friday, people started showing up with it everywhere. Everybody was sitting down playing it. Next thing you knew, they were sold out by late Saturday. Great game, great quick game, good intro to deck building, and great artwork with it and everything. I absolutely love it. I think people are going to love it if they get a chance to sit down and play it. So
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is one that wasn't on my radar, and then I met with well, you and then Eric Summer, and then I ran by the booth, and I actually met the designer and got an autograph. But yeah, just a really light deck builder. You're trying to be the first one to a certain amount of points, and you start off with each card in your deck being worth a certain amount of coins or points. Like this one's two, and I forget what the number is you're trying to get, and you're buying decks from a card and improving your deck. And yeah, it's just really fun, and the artwork is just great. So yeah, Fliptoons, great find there. Really impressed that you got that. Another one, let's talk about Trinket Trove, a small box game, but I think a lot of fun. I got to play this kind of a little auction game where you're bidding on different things. Here's buttons, and each one scores a little differently. You know, you might get negative points if you have too many. Here's one: the more you have in a set, the more points you get. But then some of these, you know, here's one: the bell. It jumps from 10 to 80 if you can get both of them. And what did you think about this one?
it's a lot of fun. It's another one of those good people doing good things. I know Paul Solomon, the guy who designed it. He's out of the St. Louis area. Great guy. Love being able to support him and show his game off. This is actually an interesting one that a lot of people kind of flies under the radar. You see him in play to wins at conventions and things like that. And then all of a sudden it starts hitting the table and everybody's talking about it. Everybody wants to play it and it's so much fun and everybody's having a good time with it. So I was excited when I saw the excitement around it and I wanted to kind of bring it home to Kansas City and share it with our folks here. And I hope they are as excited about it. Paul hopes to be with us next year for Meeple-A-Thon. Wasn't able to make it this year. So
Okay. Now, one of the ones I don't have my copy here. My daughters have it. It's Oopsie Poopsie, and it's from our good friend Jeff. So I don't have to show it, but yeah, we both played it. A light family game, but yet will appeal to. It's a battler. It's a take that. But give me your take on it, or let talk a little bit about the history of it. It's got a little bit of a history.
yeah, I think it's a great game that's kind of it is a quick card game to learn and you could sit down and play. Great one for game nights, right? To just sit around and have a fun time stealing cats from each other. The original game was based off of dogs, so this is called Oopsie Poopsie, the Litter Box Edition. Was the re-implementation of it. Jeff tells the story better than anybody because he lived it, but his daughter essentially saw a news story about a young girl that was doing something and created something and she said, I could do that. I could create a board game. And next thing he knew, she had created this card game. She was very young at the time. She'll be there as well. So for those of you that want to go, Jeff's going to be teaching a game. We talked about him. He's going to teach Wondrous Creatures. He asked to have somebody else teach Oopsie Poopsie. And I love that idea, having somebody that played it teach it rather than the creators sometimes. But he and his family are all going to be there at the convention. So, you could get it signed if you win it, right? Get it signed by the young lady who developed it, which I think is pretty cool.
Great family. Jeff, I met him during CantCon earlier this year, and just a great guy, stand-up family. Really happy to know him. So looking forward to connecting with him again at Meeple-A-Thon. All right, so Dark Quarter. What can you tell me about Dark Quarter? I know nothing about it.
Dark Quarter, maybe one of our more mature themes, right? About solving crimes and stuff, a very dark theme.
I can't play it
But speaking of,
if it's mature. I can't. No mature games for me. No,
yeah,
go ahead.
uh, but speaking again of CantCon, right? Our friend Nick Seal,
Oh
who
yeah.
runs CantCon, he found out we were doing Learn to Win. He said, "Bill, I want to teach a game." And I said, "That's great. What do you want to teach?" And he came to me with this. He's like, "I want to try this game. It's kind of app driven. There's the app that comes with it that helps you kind of work your way through the mysteries that you're solving. And that a couple of expansions are already out. The core game will be there." But you can learn that from Nick Seal. Learn a little bit about CantCon from Nick Seal. We love CantCon, so happy to be able to partner with him in doing something like this, and a game that is actually pretty popular. It took me a while to kind of track it down when he said that's what he wanted to teach.
Yeah, Nick's a great guy. You'll have a lot of fun. Whoever's going to be playing with him, great teacher, great guy. I really got to know him well over 2025. So, yeah. All right, the last one rounding up the play to win is from our good friends at All Play, and that is Through the Desert. It is a new version of Reiner Knizia's classic game. So old game, but new version. Have you? All right, Bill. Have you played Through the Desert?
I
Uh-oh.
haven't. I
Go.
have not. I love Knizia games. I'm working my way through the backlog of them that I haven't played. But you're right. Older game originally, right? The newer implementation of it's fairly new. I think 2024 is when the newer version came out from All Play. Exactly what you would expect from All Play, right? Smaller box, big game, great components, good artwork, right? A lot of fun stuff to it. So very highly rated game from back when it was originally out. They didn't change it all that much. Really, they just tried to kind of re-implement it. So I think people are going to really enjoy it, and that one will be. I think that's one of our early games in our Learn to Win system. Yeah.
Yeah, great. They did a great job. They do a good job with everything they touch. I mean, All Play. I'm really excited that they're part of the Kansas City area, and the Kansas City, Kansas side, nonetheless. So, well, folks, I want to thank you for tuning in and watching this video all about Meeple-A-Thon, getting to know Bill and some of the exciting things that you'll get to experience. And we've spent like an hour and a half just talking about play to win. Now, there's so much more going on at Meeple-A-Thon just within the board game section, let alone all the other, the war game, the card game, the RPG, and everything. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have a really fun time at Meeple-A-Thon. What a way to wind up the year, going into the holiday season. It's been a pleasure having you, Bill. Thanks for joining us on Board Games with Rob and talking a little bit about your little touches on Meeple-A-Thon, the board game side. I hope you had a good time.
Rob, it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to working with you at Meeple-A-Thon and seeing you interact with our fans,
Oh,
and looking forward to everybody coming down. It seems like every day I open up our register and there's 50 more people that have bought
oh,
badges. So we're
well,
excited to have everybody coming, and hope that we're putting on a show that everybody truly enjoys and starts talking about annually.
all right, Bill. Thanks for joining. So, to you, the viewers, thank you so much for watching. Have fun gaming, and more importantly, everybody, be kind to one another. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, everybody.